Hello everyone watching the video. Have a great day. I hope this video is helpful to you. The repeating formula of every empire in 500 years beginning. The circle. If you look at history too closely, it looks chaotic. War, crisis, revolution, collapse. But if you step back far enough, history is no longer a series of events. It becomes a circle, a loop, quietly, structured, and repeating for hundreds of years. 1. History is not chaotic. It has structure. We often think of each era as unique, but every great empire from the Roman Empire to the British Empire, and more modernly the United States, all follow the same structure, not the same events, but the same trajectory. 3 stages: rise, peak, destruction. No one escapes that cycle. Stage 1. Rise. Every empire begins with discipline, with scarcity, with a generation that understands the value of labor and survival. In this stage, low debt, high morale, strong production. Real value is created. People believe in the future. They work more than they consume. They build more than they enjoy. Military power increases, trade expands, technology develops. This is when the empire is still hungry, and that hunger creates strength. Stage 2. Peak. Then one day, the empire reaches its peak. Their currency becomes the standard. Their military presence is ubiquitous. Their culture is global, like when the British pound was the center of world trade under the British Empire, or when the US dollar became the global reserve currency under the United States. At its peak, they control capital flows. They control trade. They control the rules of the game. But it is at this point the circle begins to close. Because when an empire reaches its peak, it begins to change its nature. From production to financialization. From discipline to hedonism. From construction to protection of privilege. Money becomes easier to earn than labor. Speculation is more attractive than innovation. And debt begins to rise. Not because they become stupid, but because they believe their position is permanent. Stage 3. Decline. Decline doesn't begin with war. It begins with fragility. Systems become complicated. Debt piles upon debt. Inequality increases. The gap between rich and poor widens. Trust in institutions diminishes. To maintain its peak, the empire must borrow from the future. Print money. Increase public debt. Maintain the image of prosperity. But like any overly strained structure, a small shock is enough to expose cracks. Not because they are immediately weak, but because their system becomes too sophisticated to be flexible. The very complexity that once made them great now makes them vulnerable. The central paradox. This is the deepest point of the circle. What makes an empire great in its early stages? Discipline, sound finances, innovation. When it reaches its peak, transforms into complacency, financialization, dependence on debt. No one goes stupid. They just become victims of their own success. The end, the circle, closes. If you look close enough, you see chaos. If you look far enough, you see structure. History is not a straight line going upwards forever. It is a circle. Rise, peak, destruction. Then a new circle begins. The question is not, does the loop exist? But, where on the circle are we standing?